Y'all, this is crazy. We got Taylor out here planning dates with no help or assistance from Ace. And now we don't have Sierra? Let's go talk about the job. Lord have mercy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel to all my fellow yappers. This is Nia the Yapper and I'm back with another video. We're going to be talking about Love Island episode 30. So let me pull up my notes because we have a lot to discuss today. So the scene opens up with Chris and Huda. Huda was talking to Chris about the crash out challenge, and she kind of expressed to him that she was surprised no one kissed her during the challenge. I was a little like confused by that, and so was Chris, because he was like, she's basically saying like the reason why she was like surprised is because she's still open. But truth of the matter is everybody is kind of coupled up and everyone's kind of giving everyone this kind of mutual respect of them being coupled up and them being already couples, that they weren't going to kiss other people, which I kind of understand. And she already got in trouble for kissing someone else's anyways. We're going to move on. So they kind of express to each other that their connection is growing stronger, but also that they want to have best friends. They want to be best friends with their partners that they have, and they want their partners to make them laugh. So then Chris kind of says a few of the knock-knock jokes. I'm not going to lie. I wrote a few of them knock-knock jokes down for me to say because they were kind of funny and they was kind of cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. I had a little kiki. Then Chris asked her to say a joke, and she's like, what? I don't just have them off the top of my dome. And I'm like, girl, you don't have to work on that. But no, I thought it was kind of funny and it was kind of cute in that Huda feels like she has hope with this connection with her and Chris, and says that she doesn't want to rush into making anything super, super physical with him. In the next scene, we have Amaya talking to the girls about her kiss with Brian in the speakeasy and how she was just super, super giddy. And then she asked Iris about her and Pepe. And, Iris says, we're good, we're cool and stuff like that. So then in this next scene, this is where I low-key kind of lost it because we have Taylor making and planning a breakfast for Clark. And why I lost it was because these were the same things that Ace had to force him to do for Alandria. And now all of a sudden, he can do them by himself without anybody saying anything to him. And now he has Ace helping him do something that he planned. This is so crazy to me. It's so insane. But this is a pure example of what happens when a guy likes you. He will do it for you without you having to say anything. So, ladies, men do not need to be taught how to treat you if they like you. Please understand that. That is a pure example of it. He did not have to be coached by any of the other guys. There are other guys that have to tell him nothing. He went and immediately did it for Clark. That should speak volumes to when a guy likes you, you don't have to teach them anything. They're going to do it regardless. So I think it was, but don't get me wrong, I do think that was very nice for him to do that for Clark. And I think that it was very sweet. But at the same token, I hated that it showed that he could have been able to do that for Alandria, but he chose not to because truth of the matter is he didn't like her and he could have been honest about it. Next, Amaya comes down the stairs and she sees what Taylor and Ace are putting together for Clark. She's like, oh, it's so cute. And then she tries, Ace tells her, I think Ace or Taylor tells her to go stall Clark so that she won't come down before they're finished. I thought this scene was so funny because Amaya does not know how to stall. She did not know how to stall Clark. So she's like asking Clark, okay, so what's your favorite color? What is your dream date? So Clark tells her, my favorite color is black. And then she goes and then she asked her what will be her dream date. And she says a picnic. And I thought that was so cute and ironic that that's what they're making her. Then Ace comes up and he's like, telling Clark, hey, come down. We have something for you. As Ace brings her down, she's like, oh, thank you. They kiss, whatever. Her, not her and Ace. Clark and Taylor kiss. And then it was hilarious the way like they was like, okay, so what do you want? And Taylor's like, not Taylor, Clark's like, we want water, and like Ace is like running to get the water. I thought that was funny scene. I really thought that was hilarious. Then we have Clark and Taylor talking, and Clark says it was a great first picnic. This is our first ever picnic date, and that she loves that Taylor reassures her a lot, which is also another thing that I was like, wow, like the things that Alandria was begging for, Taylor is doing with ease, which lets you know that like if a guy likes you, you don't have to have these multiple conversations asking him, does he like you? Just saying. Just wanted to put that out there for all my people out here who get confused about whether a guy likes you or not. You will know. That is, I'm just telling you right now, this is a pure example of you will know. So Taylor says that in the conversation, Taylor says that he misses his family and he misses his horses. And then he kind of asks Clark, like, you know, how would you like being a country girl? And to me, she seemed a little hesitant about it. She seemed like, you know, she's just kind of saying it to kind of go along with it. But I don't feel like Clark is going to fit all the way in with his, you know, country cowboy lifestyle. I think that she is a girl from the country, from her being from North Carolina. But I think it's different from being country and different from being Southern. If I'm just going to be, you know, quite frank, it's the same thing with Alandria. Like Alandria, I think she said she was from Alabama. I believe so, or Mississippi, one of those two. I cannot remember. It's a difference between being from the South, and there's a difference between being country and being a cowgirl and a cowboy and being on the farm. I think that Clark would be a big adjustment to her being on a farm than to her being, you know, living the country girl life and being a Southern girl. So she looked a little hesitant on that answer, and he was like, you know, you'll be able to do it. And she's like, I'm still a city girl though. So I thought that was an interesting conversation. Next, we have Iris and Pepe, and they're sitting in one of the little seating areas that they have, and they are talking about, like, you know, how they like their parents, and they're basically talking about their parents, their background. I think that seems to be some of the conversations that is being placed in each of these conversations, because everyone throughout this episode have been talking about their families and talking about like how life is, how their regular day-to-day life is. So I'm pretty sure that we're coming up on the episode where they get to kind of like meet each other's families. You know how they did last year where they take them to this room and they meet each other's families through like, you know, the webcam and stuff. So I think we're getting close to those episodes. He kind of says that he looks like you know, Iris says she likes her father and how her father is one of the cooler dads. And then Pepe says that he looks like his dad, and how they start talking about like how they, you know, gained their love of music through their fathers. And Pepe kind of surprises us and says how the, you know, many instruments that he plays, like he played the guitar, the piano, and the drums. I did not know that. I did see a video circulating of him playing the guitar, so it wasn't too surprising, but I was like, okay, that's really cool. Like I wouldn't have known that he had that type of background. And nor did Cyrus. Cyrus was like, wow, you are like surprising me every day. You have a lot to you. So within that, we jump from them to Amaya and Brian, and I think they're on the dock. And so they're having like a little bit of small talk here and there. And then they also talk about their families and how their families are from the same like area in the DR. And then Brian just like, you know, Amaya is basically talking about how she is the first generation that was born in America, but also being the first gen of going to college and becoming a nurse. And so Brian kind of, you know, admires her for her being so smart. He says that's why he admires her, because she's so smart and the field that she is in. And then Amaya reassures Brian that he is a safe space for her. Then, you know, of course, Amaya goes in for a kiss. I will say, I really do like Brian and Amaya, but I do want to see Amaya be more pursued. But I think her personality and how loving she is and how loving she wants to be, I just think that that's her. But I would love to see the guys pursuing her just a little bit more and her stepping back just a little bit. But other than that, I really like her and Brian's connection. I like that he allows her to be herself and that he does not judge that solely because he understands the culture, because he's a part of that culture, right? Okay, so next we get a commercial break. And this is where the madness starts, y'all. This is where the madness happens. Ciara has left the villa. When I tell you guys, I reminded that 3 times because it triggered me back to when Yulissa left the villa, and I didn't pay attention to it at first. Everybody was like, and I was like, "Where's Yulissa at? Where's Yulissa at?" And I had to go back and rewatch it, so I had to make sure I was not crazy because I was like, "Where in the world is Ciara?" They said Ciara has left the vehicle due to family issues. Truthfully, I feel like it has been because of the information that has been circulating about her saying a slur against the Asian community. So yeah, she's out of the villa. I'm very shocked. So now Nick is single. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very shocked by this. But yeah, so that has happened. The guys kind of rally around Nick and kind of ask him how he's feeling. Nick is kind of in shock and kind of like doesn't really know what to do. Then they kind of ask him like, is he gonna keep exploring? And he's like, I really don't know. But is it just me? I really feel like Nick, if he really liked Ciara like that and the way that he did and wanted to cut it off, I'm kind of surprised he didn't just leave with her, because in my mind, they don't really know what's going on out in the real world because they don't have their phones. They don't have access to the real world. So for me, if Ciara really did leave for a family issue, I would assume that Nick would have left with her if he really felt this true, deep connection with her. So I'm a bit shocked he did not leave. But I don't know. We never know what is being told to them. The producers could have told him the truth why she left, and he could have felt like, hey, like, I don't want to, continue to connect with her outside of the real world. We don't know. But if my first theory that I'm thinking is she left for real family issues and you don't really know what happened, what's going on in the real world right now, it's kind of odd, and it kind of shows his character by not leaving with her. I mean, you closed it off with her and you said that you really feel this deep connection, but then she leaves and you're like, well, whoop-de-doo, I'm about to go find a new connection. So I find it a little weird, but it is what it is. Next, we have Zach pulling Amaya for a chat, and Zach truly is trying to lay it on thick. I'm not gonna lie, he is laying it on really, really thick at this point, and I'm not really impressed by it. It's kind of getting old for me. Like, Zach, it's just, I don't get it. Like, he just really wants to it's just like a person who's just really trying to prove a point here. The point has been proven and is giving performative. I just don't like the switch up of now you just think Amaya deserves so much love and you just think she's a wonderful girl and all these things. But then 2 episodes ago, you're saying that she made you feel uncomfortable and that things are moving too fast and all these other things. It's weird to me how all of a sudden America tells you she's one of the most genuine and really loved, and all of a sudden she deserves all the love in the world. It's just weird. Just a little bit. Let me see. But I also will say in this scene, I did not like that Amaya said, I don't mind exploring this connection. I feel like she should have just said, I feel like with everything that's transpired, I feel like we can still be friends and still be friendly in this villa, but I don't see us having a deeper connection than that. And I feel like that's what she should have said, because truly Zach missed his chance with her and she shouldn't be giving him another chance. Next we have Ace and Shelly. Like I said, everyone's having conversations about their families at this point. And so Shelly and Ace are talking about their families and their childhood upbringing. Shelly talks about how her childhood was a little rough at first, and how she got to go from shelter to shelter, but then she ends up her family ends up getting things together and now they're doing well, which I'm happy to hear. Ace says how he used to go to high schools in nice areas, but then have to come back and be sleeping on beach, like lawn chairs and stuff, basically alluding to the fact that like he went to nice schools in these nice areas, but he's coming back to his reality once he comes back from school, which is a rough reality, maybe homelessness. I'm not sure what he was truly alluding to. I don't want to assume, but that's what I got from it. He And I think this explains, because I saw a video circulating around as well on TikTok of him dancing like in 2019 at his high school. And it was, I think the high school was in Diamond Bar, California. And everybody was like, see, I knew Ace went to Diamond Bar. And they was trying to make it seem like he was richer than what he was try to persuade on television. But for me, it's not hard to believe that he went to a nice high school but lived in a rough neighborhood. That happens quite often, more than people believe. There's a lot of parents who struggle to put their children in nicer schools for them to have a better chance in life, and they still, may have a rougher, living condition. So I thought it was weird that people was trying to make it seem like Ace was lying about him growing up with all these siblings and growing up a little rough. Like, people can grow up rough and still go to a good school because their parents want them to have a better chance in life. I just thought that was weird that people thought like he was lying about that. I thought it was as simple as, he went to a nice high school, but where he lived at was somewhere different. And then that's really what I got from that conversation. Kind of ends, and then you have Nick and Alandria, and they're meeting, where that little short couch is. They're like over there talking to each other. Alandria kind of is checking in on Nick, trying to see how he feels with this news of Ciara leaving the villa, which is still shocking me. Like, honestly, when she sat there and talked to him, I felt like she was talking to me too, because I needed to process this. Ciara has left. What? That's crazy. But she kind of reassures him, and then you kind of see Ace and Shelly like kind of smiling a little bit, and Ace is like, I kind of want to see where this goes. I feel like we can see if they have a really nice connection or not. So we shall see. And then, at this moment right now, I know that all of the Nick Alandria fans are, their dreams are coming true. This is the moment they've all been waiting for. So I'm excited for you guys to see where it goes. Nick kind of tells Alandria in this moment, like, I really trust you. You're someone that I can trust. You feel like you're someone that has my back in here. This is not the first time he said it. This is the first time he said it, but he says it again later on in the episode. And it was kind of alluding to me that he was trying to tell her, please vote for me. Keep me in the villa, please. I know you have other connections, but please keep me in the villa. I want to win that 100K. I mean, I want to have a deep connection with you. Anyways, so they kind of, say like, we want to rekindle this fire and this spark again and see like, where things go. But truly in this conversation, it was more so just about Alandria checking in on him and Alandria making sure he was good and, seeing where his headspace was and him thanking her for being such a real person and having his back. And then Nick kind of asked Alandria how she feels about Clark and Taylor picking Clark. And she says, I'm happy for him. She said, I was never upset about him picking Clark. She was upset about how he went about it and that she is happy for them. And then Nick, messy behind, go ask, well, how do you feel about them both being at the bottom in the challenge from yesterday? And she was like, great. And they both laughed. I thought that was hilarious. I said that was funny. I mean, don't be fake about it. Like, honestly, if somebody did me dirty and then they end up being proven that, at the bottom, I wouldn't say I wouldn't crack a smile. I'm just saying. So next, then you have Nick kind of stating how like Alandria kind of brings out this manly side to himself, and he says that like in a lot of ways he feels that he brings out a funnier side to Alandria where she makes her laugh, makes her giddy and stuff like that. Then we have Amaya and Elan. They are having small talk. I'm telling you, I'm living for Amaya, getting pulled from chats left to right, right to left. I am loving that for my sis. She deserves it. She deserves to have men wanting her. But truthfully, we all know the reasons why Zach and Elan and Brian are all gunning for Amaya, because they know that there's going to be an elimination soon and they have to find somebody to couple up with. we all know, but truthfully, Amaya is that girl regardless of it being the fact of a competition. And she's truly putting her authentic self and her heart in this game for real. So they're talking, they're chopping it up, and then they're asking about like food and stuff, and what type of food do you like, and things like that. And Elan, well, no, how it started was Amaya thanks him for the breakfast that he gave her in the morning. And then, she says, what type of food do you like? He says Latin food. I thought it was a little bit ironic because, she is Dominican. But, anyways, she started describing some of the foods and he was like, no, that's my language. And I was like, well, they're pretty authentic foods. So that must be his favorite for real. And that Amaya says she really knows how to cook. Then we jumped from them. We jumped from a lot of chats, guys. So I'm really just summarizing a lot of chats at this point. So next we have Nick and Alandria. And is it just me or Zach? I'm sorry, not Nick and Alandria. We have Zach and Alandria talking. And is it just me? Does Zach, he's just getting on my nerves, acting this super, super nice. Oh, can you sit right here? Can I get you some water? Do you need this? You weren't doing all of that at first. Please, can you give us a break? God, like can you at least not show that you're trying to stay on this show that bad? Give us a little authenticity here. And Zach asked Alandria what she is looking for in a man. And to me, I just feel like when she was describing the guy, he just was repeating what she was saying and trying to incorporate it within what he does for his family. I didn't feel like he was honestly being genuine with that either. Like, I felt like she could have said, I like a guy who's blue. I love blue too. Like, it just felt like that. It didn't feel genuine. And then, she asked him what is he looking for, and then he's like, I feel like, our conversation are getting better, and she feels the same way, and he keeps trying to get a kiss from her. I don't know. And then he claims he really messes with her heavy, but we barely see him pulling her from chats all the time. But anyways, and then next we have Huda and Amaya, and they're sitting and they're trying to chat about the day, and Amaya's like, girl, don't you see me getting pulled by all these men? And then Huda was like, girl, yes, you needed some water because I know your throat was dry from all that talking. I thought that was funny. And then Huda gets a text, and she's like, I get a text, how they do. And the text reads that there will be a recoupling, and the girls get to choose, and which guy that is not chosen will be vulnerable, which we all know vulnerability means that somebody getting kicked off the island, they're getting dumped. Hasta la vista, see you later. Have a good trip back home is basically what that means. So Elan, Zach, and Brian all tried to approach Amaya at different times to kind of butter her up, to try to butter her up to say, hey, I really like you and I would love to stay in the villa, which really gets Amaya to having to make a really tough decision. Then next you have Nick pulling Alandria again for another chat, and this is where he reiterates that actually, let me say this before that. When he pulled her for this chat, he tells her, I have a really, really special place to take you. And what was so funny to me and what was so ironic and what I peeped was that's the same place that he, always talks to Sierra. And this is also a place where Alandria gave Taylor that charcuterie board with grapes and stuff, and he said he didn't like pineapples. So I thought it was a little ironic that he called that such a special, special place, especially a place that he shared a lot of significant memories with Sierra and a lot of deep conversations with Sierra, and also an area in which Alandria shared nice conversations with Taylor. He keeps mentioning, like, I really appreciate you having my back, and I would love that you continue to have my back, which kept emphasizing to me that, hey, can you keep me in the villa? This to me was really sad because it really showed how little he valued Sierra and their connection, and how he, one moment he says, oh, I don't like Alandria, out of respect for Taylor, and kind of saying there was nothing there, but then you go back to feeling like there's something there. And so, I don't know. it's a little weird for me. But for all the people who love Nick and Alandria, you know, I know y'all are living right now. Y'all dreams have fully came true. Um, so Alandria kind of opens up and says she does not mind exploring, and she kind of says, you know, it was hard to explore because they had their minds clouded from her having a connection with Taylor so heavy and him having a connection with Sierra so heavy. And so now with them not having those distractions and those connections, they can now be able to explore. Then Nick tries to give them a nickname, and I was like, hold on, pause. They've already given you a nickname. And the nickname you gave yourself was not, absolutely not. But yeah, shout out to the Nicolandria fans. Y'all dreams are coming true, honey. And then Ariana enters the villa. And this is where, you know, it always gets serious because when Ariana comes into the villa, it's always an elimination. It is always something where somebody's getting dumped. So when you see Ariana, they're getting dumped because Ariana don't be there during them challenges. She's always there when it's time to say adios, goodbye. Okay, so she enters the villa, and I'm telling you, her outfit ate down. I love when they had that little hooded like look with the backless, and it's like, oh, I loved it. It ate down. It was chef's kiss. I loved her outfit. The best one by far. Not the best one by far. One of my favorites because she's had a few dresses that I've really liked, and I was like, she looks gorgeous, as she always does. Okay, everyone is instructed to go to the fire pit. Now we are starting the recoupling. We're just going to get right into the recoupling. Shelly is first in the recoupling, and she chooses Ace, of course. Clark is second in the recoupling. She chooses Taylor. Huda is third, and she is recoupling, of course, with Chris. One thing I will say, why was Chris wearing that do-rag? Like, it's recoupling time. Ariana is here. Like, have some class and decorum. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying a do-rag is not classy, but a do-rag is what you wear to sleep. You don't wear your do-rag to the recoupling. You're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to have that junk on. Like, why was your hair not done? I was just like, sir, no, you wear the hair to the braid, you wear the braids, you put a ponytail on. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying do rags are a bad thing or anything like that, but we all know as people, you know, your do rag is what you wear to sleep to keep them waves and your hair protected. When you go out, put your best on, represent yourself the best way. Like, if a girl picking you and you got a do rag on, what, huh? Anyway. Next, we have Iris, and Iris goes fourth, and she chooses Pepe. Then this is where things got a little, because truthfully, I kind of already knew she was going to pick Nick, but then I was like, girl, you really going to pick Nick? She did. Alandria was fifth, and she recoupled with Nick. I still find this to be crazy to me, even though I figured that was going to happen. It still was kind of crazy to me. And then last and final, we have Amaya, and she has to choose between three boys, which is Zach, Brian, and Elan. She, of course, chooses Brian, and I am so happy for her to be choosing Brian because in that moment, I could tell she made a great decision because Amaya did not cry. Amaya did not feel on top of ways. I felt like she was truly at peace with the decision that she made, and it really showed in how she reacted. And then, unfortunately, Zach and Elan have been dumped from the island. And Zach and Elan, they both were great sports. They didn't, you know, take nothing from it. They kind of understood what was going on and how things were going to play out. And then everyone says their goodbyes to Zach and Elan, and Zach and Elan, and then they say goodbye to them, of course. And then we have Nick and Alandria, and they go back to the dock and talk. They just love that dock, honey. They love talking. They love saying. They just loved it. Okay. And Nick says to Alandria that she makes him nervous, and she still makes him nervous, and that that he feels like a different person. I just feel like, for me, I feel like a different person comes out of Nick when he is talking to Alandria versus when he's talking to Sierra. I feel like he feels like a giddy, like he feels like a kid, like he just feels like, you know, like more excited. And I feel like with Sierra, I don't know, it's just different. It's a little different. Not to say that him and Sierra's connection wasn't great. It's just that it's different from him and Landria, and it's different to watch and see, to be honest with you. I am in shock. I'm still in shock. But I guess I will say this. I truly can believe I truly cannot believe the Delulu Nick Alandria fans have finally gotten what they wanted. And I guess manifestation and a little bit of delusion goes a long way, y'all, into getting what you want. I'm not capping. Y'all really manifested with a tad bit of Delulu and got exactly what y'all wanted. Y'all got Nick and Landria. Let's hope, y'all, that this goes well. And then, Alandria says, this kind of like towards the end of the episode, and Alandria says, that she is ready to give Nick her all, and that, they're just gonna do what they signed up for, and for some reason it's just, I'm sorry, not do what they're signed up for. I'm sorry. She wants to give Nick her all, and she feels like it's a sign for them that they keep getting recoupled, that they keep coming back to each other, and that she just wants to see where it goes. And they're both just ready to start from square one and give their 100%. Truthfully, how I feel about this, we're just going to see how it goes. I feel like this show, I feel like we should throw away the whole season. Honestly, there's no true connections here. Everybody playing around. Everybody was playing like we are on a severe like competition show. Like, yes, it is somewhat of a competition, but y'all are playing this like we're on Survivors. Like, we are playing to the death. Like, we're playing traitors or something. I don't like it too much. We're kind of missing the plot. Okay. But all in all, I really did like this episode. I was very much shocked throughout this whole entire episode. It kept me on my toes for sure. But let me know how you guys feel in the comments section about this episode, how you feel about Love Island in general, and, what do you guys look forward into, and are you guys Nick Alandria fans? Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.